Another week in the books. Reminder that all content warnings are with the longer write-up on my website. My first book of the week was A Fairy Hunter's Guide for the Recently Undead. This one will be coming out tomorrow, and a big thank you to the Nerd Fam for an advanced reader copy of the ebook. In this one, our protagonist Gwendolyn did not expect to wake up again. She's had a long battle with illness, and she thought it was over, so she is very surprised to wake up inside the fairy realm. She knows the signs of a fae deal when she sees one because her mother trained her rigorously as a fairy hunter as she was growing up. By day, she finds herself back in her own world where she is free to investigate what happened, who made the deal, why they did it, and what exactly the terms may have been. By night, she finds herself back in this nightmarish fairy court. The only ally that she has found here is a patchwork knight who seems to want to help, but is cursed all the way down to his bones to serve the fairy king. What initially drew me to this one was the title itself. It's a delightfully tongue-in-cheek title. The book was not in the same tone. This is actually one you really want to check the content warnings on because it does get very dark. The fairies and their worlds are absolutely terrifying, and our protagonist's fear and even despair at times is downright palpable. We also have some very complicated and complex characters that are very well fleshed out and three-dimensional. I did also really like the relationship dynamics both in friendships and in the one romance that we do see. It was also really cool to see that those involved in the romance were not conventionally attractive. I think there's a very good chance I would have liked this book a lot better if my expectations had been more accurately set for the book I ended up reading. Like I said, it's much darker than I expected when I was thinking it was going to be more light and sarcastic. Another thing that I know some fellow ARC readers struggled with is that the prose is very flourishy and flowery. While for some this could be pleasantly atmospheric and give that Victorian Gothic feel, for others it did prove to be cumbersome and a little confusing at times, especially the metaphoric language that was used very heavily throughout. This one's a little bit tricky to recommend, specifically because you need to be aware of what this book is and what it's going to do before you start reading. If you've read through all the content warnings and analyzed your headspace and decided that yes, this is the right time, by all means go ahead. You may love it very much, but do be careful with this one, please. Next up, we have A Fire in the Sky, and a shout out to my local library system for getting this one into my hand. In this one, our story focuses primarily on Tamsin. She has lived her life as the royal whipping girl. Her duty has always been to endure any punishments that would have been meted out to her sisters, the princesses. She does believe that it's a better life than she would find anywhere else in the kingdom because looking the way she does, many people are bound to believe that she has magic, and its practitioners are being systematically hunted down the way that dragons were many years ago. There are none of those left. When a celebrated warrior from the north, known as Lord Beast, comes demanding a princess as his bride in repayment for all of his deeds on behalf of the kingdom, Tamsin is willing to take the place of one of her sisters so that none of them will have to marry this man and his horrid reputation. Once she leaves the castle and all she's ever known with this man, she begins to discover that there is a lot more out there than she expected. There's a lot more to the world, there's a lot more to that man she is now married, and most remarkably, there's more to herself too. I am now just shy of 2/3 of the way through this one, and I am really enjoying it. I am just tearing through the pages. I'm really liking the different relationships that the main character has with her different sisters who all have different personality types. I like the complicated relationships between her and her parents. And most remarkably, I'm really liking the way that the relationship is handled between her and her new husband. With arranged marriages, and in this case, I would even call it a forced marriage in romance books, it can be really awkwardly fumbled. This one has done it very tactfully, and I'm really liking seeing all the chemistry that is building between the two and the relationship that's forming. I'm also really fascinated by the magic that's starting to trickle in, and I want to see where it goes. Even better, I know that I'm going to because I have an advanced reader copy of the second book in this series. Now, this series is set in the same world as the author's Firelight series, but that is not required reading. This is working just fine as a standalone. There's a good possibility I will be going back to read the Firelight series just because I'm enjoying this so much. I do recommend. As always, there's a longer write-up of all of this available on my website at writing.hallidaynelson.com. And I want to know what you are reading too and what you are having fun with, because no matter how big my TBR pile gets, I'm going to let it keep growing. So let me at it, please. Happy reading.